Good afternoon, my name is Joe with Rotorcraft RC. Today's video is about the custom XXL case we built for Aether Films. So when Davis contacted me, he informed me that the Vulcan machine that they use uses 4 16 amp 6S lipos per flight. So as we talked about the flight capabilities of the machine, he can carry a 20-pound payload for about 15 minutes. So that means that we need to have a lot of lipos charging at once. And this is why you see the holes being put into the deck for 4 406 duos. A 406 duo is a dual 40 amp charger that goes up to 6S. This right here is our normal Pro case. This will have a 308 or a 6 duo charger in it. This is what the pros use. It's made out of a heavy-duty material. It's built to be very rugged. We put a Meanwell 2000 power supply in it, which is the RSP line, so if they're traveling to other countries, the power supply will adjust automatically. And for our Pro cases, we use an industrial material. It's a 1/2 inch thick Type 1 PVC, very durable. And we used the Nanook hard line of cases for the mounting system that they have for our decks. Let's watch a time lapse of the machine cutting the deck. Now with so many case companies out there making cases, we had a lot of choices to go with. We chose Plastic Case because of their customer service, their fast shipping to us, their quality. They stand behind their product just like we stand behind ours. They also have an integrated mounting system for our decks, which means that when we have the ring around the outside of our deck, we'll punch the holes through it. And then when the deck sits in the case, we actually use a stainless steel fastener to hold it in. Makes a one-piece system flawless. So now you've seen the first couple steps of how we get to this point. We're going to take a little tour around in the Nanook factory and see the injection system. Now we've had a couple people in the past ask us, hey, can I replace a lid? I got something jammed into it. The reason why we can't sell just the lid is because the lid, the top and the bottom, are manufactured at the same time. That gives them the perfect fit and finish. And with this being a large custom case, every bracket is custom made to fit. So if you need something, we can make it for you. We also have the ability to get custom foam inserts made also. So if you need something, you can give us a call or email us. this is the point we're trying to get to with the bottom deck. This has 4 406 duos in it, 8 balance board, 8 sets of banana jacks, 2 USB chargers, and then we're going to be putting an upper deck in also. The upper deck will have 4 chargers that will charge their camera lipos and their gimbal lipos. Let's go see what Chris, our in-house designer, is doing. So the most important thing about a Pro case is being able to get it on site to use it. So the professionals travel via public airlines and other means, and we want our case to be rock solid when they get there. We don't want them to have to deal with any issues. So we use a very heavy duty material. Now, because this case has actually got 4 chargers in the deck, with 25% thicker material than we normally use. It's going to be a very heavy case, but all they said is they need it to be under 100 pounds for traveling, and that's what we're definitely going to be under 100 pounds. So let's take a quick look at what's inside this case. We have 3 Meanwell power supplies. 2 of them are the RSP 2000s, and 1 of them is an RSP 1000. The RSP line has a 5-year warranty on it, and that's great for the professional, but 2000 watts at 24 volts. Plus, because these are voltage sensing, when they travel to another country and they plug in the 240, the power supply will switch automatically. There's no need for them to open the case, move any switches or anything like that. Everything will set itself up. So now this is our Pro Series fans. We can run these anywhere between 12 and 24 volts DC. At 24 volts, these things are like little jet engines. They move a tremendous amount of air. But what we'll do is once we put this case together, we'll go ahead and probably run them about 18 volts. And what we do is we positively pressurize this case so all the heat has to move out through the venting that we supply. Then, as you can see up here, our banana jacks are all very securely mounted. Everything is separated. Wire management, once again, is a must. This is one of the big benefits of having Chris design this on CAD before we cut. We know everything is gonna fit. We should have no issues with one item colliding with another. Let's do a quick little flashback of everything that is underneath the brackets. The balance boards are underneath, and we have our cables running to those. Now, all of this stuff is something that we can send them spares if they ever have an issue, if anything ever gets damaged, if the case ever gets dropped off of a mountain and something does happen to it, which is very unlikely. Then we will actually pigtail these 2 chargers to this power supply, pigtail these 2 chargers to this power supply, and then this power supply will actually feed the upper deck with the 4 chargers there. We'll have 2 IEC inputs into this case because you cannot run 5 kilowatts of power off of one receptacle. It's just going to be a bad day. You'd be tripping breakers all day. And then we gave them 2 of the USB chargers. Chris is going ahead and making a mount that goes to the bottom of this case, and they'll be able to take out some bolts, and the power supply will come out with the mount mounted to it. So if for some unforeseen reason they ever get bad power or something on site and they have a power supply go out, they'll be able to pull it out. We'll be able to overnight them a new power supply, and they'll be able to just bolt it right back in, hook up 4 wires, and the case is back going again. So we want to have the ability to have quick turnarounds for our customer to keep them in business. We have a 945 template so we can verify everything that we design will fit. So in our Pro cases, we use the Meanwell RSP line of power supply, and it's pretty much, it's a workhorse. It will run all day, every day, non-stop. It'll keep our cases going forever. What we're trying to do in our Pro cases now is we've made an actual mounting bracket. Chris CNC'd it to fit very tight. It's got mounting screws that are inside of it, and when they're sitting in the case, they interlock in between each other and will screw down to a mounting plate. So when you look inside the case, this is what you're going to see. And then if the customer ever has a problem with a power supply, instead of trying to get in there with the tools to take the power supplies out, they'll be able to take out 4 mechanical fasteners. Need to send it back to us, we'll go ahead and send them a replacement with the bracket already on it. That way they can go ahead and stay in business. So this is the receiving bracket that we mount to the bottom of the case. Then the power supply brackets mount on top of this. So we will configure this to the amount of power supplies that each one of the Pro cases has. So if you have 2 power supplies, 3 power supplies, 2 big ones and a little one, we would make the custom bracket to fit the situation that you're using. Then you can see the alignment screws that are already in that deck. They line up the power supplies and everything will bolt in. And that's going to be very durable. It's going to be able to be shipped all around the world with hopefully 0 issues. Then if the customer ever has an issue with it, we'll just go from left to right. Power supply 1, 2, 3. We keep detailed pictures of every case that we build. So if the customer says power supply number 1 is bad, we know which configuration bracket is on it and we'll be able to ship them one, hopefully priority overnight to them so they can stay in business. When Chris cut the upper, there was a couple things I was not happy about. So we went ahead and redesigned it, sent it out to the machine. I had Chris go ahead and cut another bottom so we can have a display here at the shop. So after Chris gets done designing the case on the computer, he'll send the file out to the CNC machine. You just saw a time-lapse video of the decks being cut, and basically it's about 2.5 hours of setup time and cut time, and then that all got squashed down to like 20-something seconds. So if you watch the whole thing, it's boring. It's exciting, but it's boring. what we're gonna have here on this case is 4 406 Duo chargers. Each charger is 2 different chargers inside. The 406 stands for 40 amps up to 6S. So it's 40 amps, 40 amps, 40 amps, and so on. Then we're gonna have the 6S balance and banana jacks for each individual channel off of each charger. Now, we are doing the Pro fans, which are the high volume fans. They're over 80 CFM at 24 volts. Now, we will probably be driving them about 18 volts, and that brings it down to about 70-ish CFM. We want to be able to keep this case cool, but we also don't want the sound of 4 fans really screaming at 24 volts. Then they'll have individual IEC inputs. The IEC is like a computer cable. It's the 3-prong that you see on computers and monitors and like Xboxes and video games and stuff like that. There'll be 2 separate ones. On location, they'll be able to plug into a generator with 2 20 amp outputs or 2 15 amp outputs, preferably 2 20s. And what they'll be able to do is be able to charge the case at full power. Then in the upper deck, what we're gonna have is we're gonna have their logo. CNC Aether Films out of 1/2-inch acrylic. The vinyl, he'll put the carbon fiber vinyl wrap to the front of it and then CNC it with a V-groove bit from the front. It really gives it a real professional finished look. We're gonna have 60mm fans in the upper. We really don't need fans in the upper because each one of the chargers themselves have fans. But once again, because this is a Pro case, we want to keep air moving. Even if a charger is sitting idle and it's not running and the fan's not working, we want to keep everything cool behind the upper deck. So we're just going to go ahead and put a couple 60mm fans in here. The balance boards and banana jacks, and we'll be good to go. So on our cases, we strive for attention to detail. And it seems like all these bigger cases we get, we come up with different ideas and all kinds of feedback from people, and then we try and incorporate it in the next deck. Just like all of our custom cases, we use Ninja wraps. They went ahead and did some one-off custom wraps in this because of the 4 channels up top and 8 channels in the bottom. We had to be able to label everything so the customer knows what's going on. And when you get a big machine like this, you want to keep it in the air because that's what pays the bills. We've been trying to show you and explain to you in full detail of how cases are built. Now, this is one of the most amazing cases we've ever built. It's definitely got the most stuff in it. So we're trying to give you a little bit more detail about how the process goes. So on the upper deck, you saw on the machine how everything was CNC'd out. Now, the reason why I'm trying to hold this is so you can actually see how big these pieces are. Then we do the chemical welding of the bracket. You hear us say the term chemical welding all the time. There's 2 different ways of welding pieces of plastic together. There is actually a hot stick version, which is a special tool that injects plastic and it welds, just like you're welding metal together with a stick or a MIG. This is actually a chemical process. We have a special 2-part, it's just like an epoxy. It comes out of a gun. It's very stinky. It will blow this shop completely up. The 2 pieces. So when it cures, this piece and the bracket that we're mounting on is now one piece. It's the most durable thing we can do. It's an industrial product. It's not something that a homeowner will buy. Even the injection gun's over $100 just to apply the product. Now let's go ahead and look at all the pieces that it takes to make the top work. Well, here we are, standing with the final product. This is our Pro XL. This is the biggest case with the most power we have ever done. And we really appreciate Aether Films for letting us build this for them. It has been an amazing build. It has kicked my butt from beginning to end. So as you can imagine, when I got the phone call from Davis from Aether Films, and he asked for the ability to charge 12 different batteries at the same time, I was a little bit shocked. When I explained to him that it would take 4 duo capability chargers and then 4 single chargers to get to that, he was more than happy to say, go with it. This is the most power we've ever put in the case and the most channel capabilities we've ever done. And then we gave him 4 smaller chargers for doing his camera and gimbal batteries. So we have a whopping 320 amps of charging on the bottom deck and 80 amps of charging on the upper deck for a combined 400 amps of power. Also, we have 5,000 watts of mean well power supplies in here. 2,000 watts and a single 1,000 watt. This is all the RSP line, which is what we use in our Pro cases, and it's voltage sensing. So if you travel internationally or if you live internationally, when you plug the case in, it will adjust to your voltage and frequency. So now we're going to go ahead and plug this thing in, and hopefully good things happen. Now, as you can tell, the case runs off the second plug. Technically, it's the first one, but it's the second one I plugged in. This IEC controls this 2,000 watt mean well power supply and the single 1,000 in the middle. It also runs the fans, the LEDs, and these 2 chargers. The second 2,000 runs these 2 chargers, and then the 1,000 runs all of this up here and the fans. So one of the things that Aether asked about was the 12 channels, and as you can see, here's 8, and then 1 through 4 up on the top. Team Ninja went ahead and made us some custom labels so everybody knows what's what. So everything is going to be easy to find and quick for them. Davis went ahead and requested dual USB outputs. That way when they're on shoot, everybody can plug in phones and iPads and tablets and everything like that and not have any issues. So when Chris cut the upper logo, he went ahead and did the inverted cut on this one. Looks very professional, looks good and clean in this case. When this case is on site doing a photo shoot, it's going to look like it belongs there. So because this is our Pro XL case, we went ahead and upgraded the deck material to a 1/2 inch heavy duty material instead of the standard 3/8 that we normally use. Now we did use the 3/8 on the upper deck because it doesn't have all the weight and all the material cut out of it. But on the bottom, this is the first case that we've done a 1/2 inch material, and it is actually going to be standard in all our XL cases from now on. We want this thing to be able to travel internationally with the film crews and be able to arrive there structurally sound and safe. So what we have is we have balance extensions that you can actually put in the 6S. That way the lipos can sit on the ground or on a table. And then with the banana jacks, it's a 4mm. And then the customer can either use the ones that they already have existing, or we make custom ones, or we already have them pre-made. It weighs about an ounce over 60 pounds. So we're just going to call it 60 pounds. So we hope you enjoyed watching this build as much as we did building it. Now this was a complete build. We're also going to have this in kit form. Let's talk about that for a moment. Now this is the bottom to the Aether case. And you can see the framework that's on the back of here. Now if you get a kit, we'll ship it with a couple screws installed just to hold the plates on. Now if you get the heavy duty material, this is a type 1 PVC, if you get a heavy duty material, you need to take a 3/32 drill bit and pre-drill each one of these holes to put the screws in. Because we're not going to mount the plate to a charger, mount the charger in here, line everything up, unless we're doing a pre-wire. If we are pre-wiring the deck for you 100% to where you just put your charger in, then we'll go ahead and have all the screws done, because when we put our mock-up charger in here, everything will be done. But if you're doing the kit yourself, you got to remember, you're not paying us to do the labor. We will do the chemical welding and we will ship all the fasteners to put everything on. But you have to do all the pre-drilling yourself. That's part of the labor that you've got to do. I can't sit here and spend an hour pre-drilling and doing everything for you. So most customers, when we send them the vinyl, they kind of get a little panicky when they have to put it on. It's not as tough as you think it is. It is work, and you have to pay attention to what you're doing, but it's not that bad. So Chris did not cut this one out, and what we would do is we would cut the vinyl a little bit bigger than what the deck is. We would lay it down on a table with just one towel laid out, and then you take the deck and you just drop it right on top of it. If you drop it fast, the air rushing out might make your vinyl move. You don't want to do that. Just go right down above it and just let go of it. Now we do it a little bit different. You've seen our videos. We actually just lay the vinyl on and squeegee it out. Now if you get this ginormous air bubble in here, just work it out with a squeegee or a credit card. You want to make sure that you put the soft side of Velcro on it or wrap a towel around it. And as we said in the last video, what Chris recommends to do is to take the backer that you took off the vinyl, lay it on here, and then you can work it out. But you can see, I mean, we don't panic that much when stuff happens. As long as you don't get that air bubble in there and try and push the air bubble down, because then it'll stick real good, and then you'll have a donut of an air bubble because the center is going to be stuck. And you can actually take the vinyl and pull it back some. Don't stretch it, just pull it back some and then work that air out. So the vinyl that we use is a 3M product. It's a carbon fiber wrap. It has air pockets in the back of it. And what these lines do in the back of this honeycomb, is if you're putting it on dry, it actually lets the air escape. Or if you're using an application fluid, it lets that fluid work its way out from underneath the vinyl. So what we have is the ability to put extension pigtails for the balance, and I can't get it in the hole. So we helped you. So we hope you. Oh my. So the next question is, how much can I get one of your Pro XL cases for, Joe? Now, before you ask, so we hoped you enjoyed watching this build as much as we did. And now we're gonna go ahead and plug this in. Now we're gonna go ahead and plug it. Go ahead, plug it in. Can you see that? Huh? A&T Ninja? Sweet. I'm recording. Oh, awesome. So now we're gonna go ahead and power this thing up and hopefully good things happen. So we have a whopping 320 watts of charging power. Y'all can imagine what my face was. I was like, so what we did, well, here it is, our final product. This is our Pro XL case. This was designed specifically for a... Is that better? Yeah, but when you come in closer, we'll probably switch it back and forth and stuff. Well, here we are, the finish of the mega case. And when I say mega, I mean big mammy jammy.